Yes, yes. I'm recording. I started the recording.
Okay.
Okay, team. First, Venkat, first share me that post curriculum, whatever you shared in the group, please.
I want to share that content, right? Course content.
Content in the group chat. Okay.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
content I have is a bit different.
Okay. Okay. I'll share it.
And you are the 5 people who were attending all the weekend classes, or is there like anyone from different batch? Do you know how about you?
See, I think Vinod voice we are not taking, but he's from our batch only. Vinod is from weekend. Me, Shiv Kumar, who spoke with me, and then Vinod. We are from same batch actually. I can find Hari Krishna. I think he's from weekend batch. Hemant weekend batch. Partha from weekend batch. I can find 2 Vinods. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
One might be from.
no problem. Yeah, so Satish, I think both are completed same only. Like both are started similar date range. So I think it should be fine. We can just go ahead with this one. So weekday batches people chance a bit less. So we can go ahead with weekend topics.
Yeah, and other thing, Satish, if you want to know, it's going to be again some revamp. Also, we are okay with that. Maybe anything if you are not covered for weekday batch, if you are going to take, that's also okay for us. I think it's a recap for us also.
Yeah, that is why I was asking. Like others, so others, any topics additionally need to be covered. That is why I was asking.
I Satish, I'm from
So
weekday
Hemant,
batch. Hello.
yeah.
Hi Satish, I'm from weekday batch basically.
Yeah.
I'm just
So any
share you.
any additional topics?
I will just share you the topics which are not covered in weekday.
Hmm.
1 minute, I'm just sharing them in my group chat.
Okay, that is fine. You can share it. What I will do is today I will set the context. Okay, I will use this to revise, and tomorrow I will go in the detailed topics. Okay. So when was the last class you had? When was the last class you had?
2-3 weeks back.
3 weeks back. Okay. Okay.
Satish, I have shared.
What I will do is,
Satish, I shared that Snowflake course agenda also in the group. Hope you would have got everybody.
Satish, I shared
haven't
which are not covered in weekday. Which are not covered in weekday.
okay. But it's in Snowflake October 21 weekend, right? In that only you shared, right?
Yes, Satish. I can see both the one, whatever maybe Hari Krishna shared and mine also I can see.
No, but I think I'm not part of that group.
No,
sure.
I shared over in Zoom meeting. Zoom meeting only. You are asking to share in WhatsApp. Okay, I'll share that one. That's not a problem.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's fine. I think you got it. Okay. I think it is fine. Here it is enough. I thought I was looking there. That is fine. Yeah, I got it. Okay, Hari. So for you, external stage is not completed, right?
Yes.
Okay, team. That is fine.
Yeah, I pinged
I think these are
8 points are not covered. Whatever points I pinged, those are not covered.
Let me share my screen. So external stage, loading semi-structured data, data unloading. Okay. Types of tables in Snowflake, network policy, time travel, fail-safe, data sharing. Snowpipe, I'll include Snowpipe, then streams and tasks, procedures. Any other things? Okay.
Is there any basic Python connector? Can you share? Can that be a part of course?
I will show you the demo. but we will not be connecting to Python, but I will tell you how you can connect.
Okay, because that's one of the
Okay.
important topic. Okay. And then that real-time example, actually, that one, Satish.
I will tell you. I will tell you
Okay.
what will be asked in the interviews and how you can module your resume to have a real-time experience.
Sure.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. So this Python connector, you mean to say any library in the Python to connect Snowflake data and retrieve the data?
No. We will not be doing any practical on Python connector, but I will tell you how we connect to Python. Okay, where you can download the drivers and all. Okay, but we will not be having any practicals on using a Python.
Okay.
Okay, so every one of you have the Snowflake account created. You people have done the like you have
Yes.
created the
Satish.
Snowflake account.
Yeah, we have Satish.
You already have. Okay, that is fine. Okay, I'll give a brief introduction about me as well. I think Aru has already given. So I have worked on migration projects from Teradata to Snowflake, SAP to Snowflake, SAP HANA to Snowflake, and have been part of a development projects as well. Okay, so I am Snow Core certified and Snow Pro Architect certified. So this is a brief introduction about me, and let us start.
Okay.
Let yeah. Anyone has any questions?
Yeah, say Satish is Venkat. So you are from India or US region?
I am from India.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, all of you are from US.
No, I am
Anyone
from
based out of India?
I am from Chennai only.
Okay. Okay, team. Let's start. So I'll start with I think external stage for weekend batch, even though it would have been done. Let us understand the external stage. Stop sharing so that I can get the my content. Give me a minute.
Hey, sorry, Satish. I had some problems with my connection. So,
Yeah, that is fine. Sharing that my screen. So whoever I have done, let us have a quick revision of it. So for you, you would have covered data loading from the local files. Let's say you have a files. We put it, we create a stage, we put the files into the stage, and we use a copy into command to load into a table. So you have loaded the files from your local files to the Snowflake, right? This is already done, right?
Yes.
Where using a SnowSQL, you would put the data into the stage and then you copy it into a table.
Yes, we did that.
Now, external loading the data from external stages is not that big. Okay. In external stages, right now Snowflake supports 3 cloud providers: AWS, Azure, and GCP. Okay. If I go, To set the context, external like Snowflake supports AWS, Azure, and GCP. You can load from AWS S3. S3 bucket is a storage in AWS. GCS is the storage place in GCP, and Azure container is a storage in Microsoft Azure. And these are the cloud service provider, and where you place the files is the storage location in those cloud service provider. Let us see deeply in how we load from Amazon S3. So we will have an Amazon S3 bucket where you can place the files and you create a stage on top of that bucket. You create an external stage. Once the file is in the external stage, you can copy it. Else, directly you can load from the external stage itself. Understand? When you create an external stage, it's not like you are holding the data within the Snowflake. You are just referencing the data in your Amazon S3 bucket. Unlike internal stage, you have the files in your local drive, local system. First, we put them into the stage. That is, you will be charged for the files you are bringing into the Snowflake as well. That is why if you go into the storage, if you go to your Snowflake account, you go to the account section. This is the new account, so right now I don't have anything. If you go, there is a stage in the history, usage in the storage section. If you go to the storage section, there is database, stage, and fields. Database storage is whatever you store in the database tables. In it, files you get into the stage, internal stage. For the stage also you will be charged. How much amount is the storage your stage is holding, that will be reflected here. If I show it here, this is my old account. If I go to the account section, I go to January, see my storage. My total storage is 60 GB. In that, database storage is 57.33 GB. And the stage is 0.248 GB. So whatever are the files that I stored in the internal stage, those will be counted against the stage storage. Because when you are using an external storage, when you are using Amazon S3 or GCS bucket or Microsoft Azure container, already you are paying. You are already paying for the external storage. Now already the data is there in the external, like in the cloud service provider. We just need to access it. Let us see how do we load the data from external stage into the, or from the external service provider into the Snowflake. So for this practical purpose, what I will be doing is I will be referencing the data that is publicly available. Going to be very simple. Now, in order to access the data, what I'll be doing is I'll be accessing the data from these files. Okay. If I open this file, let's assume I'm opening this file. I'm directly accessing. You can see the data is generated. Let me ping you this also in the group chat. if you see this particular file, whatever I access, it's there in an Amazon S3. Okay, so there is an account created, there is an Amazon S3, there is a bucket. Okay, in that they created a folder, ingestion data, new customer, subfolder, and the data is this. That Amazon, whatever is the account, right? Amazon account, it was present in the Asia Pacific Southeast 2. And the S3 bucket is Snowflake Essentials, is the S3 bucket that is created. So this particular file. Yeah.
So you say Southeast, right? So the Snowflake account also should have been created as a with the region.
No,
of
your voice
Southeast.
is breaking.
No, you mean to say Southeast, right?
You,
are you able to hear me now?
your voice is breaking, but yeah, I can make it.
No, is my voice breaking to everyone else?
Now it's okay,
Clear,
Shiva.
Shiva.
Initially it was breaking. Now it's okay.
Yeah, Satish, I thought of asking you. You said right, both external stage and the Snowflake account should be in the same region. Is that right?
Not required.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let us understand the external how to load the data, and then I'll talk about how like it's actually not required, but I will tell you what is an advantage and what is a disadvantage if you have the data in different regions. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Similarly, there is another file also. Let me ping you that file as well. You see, this is also in the same similar folder structure. This is the data. It's the same data, whatever. One I have a CSV file, one I have in a TXT file. So if you see this data, I'm able to access directly because when you create your AWS account, you create a bucket and you paste the file. You don't usually make it public because this is made public. Anyone is able to access the URL. When you don't make it a public, then you need to pass on the credentials. Either you need to create a storage integration or you need to pass on the credentials to access the data in the folders. I'm not sure if you people have AWS account, but in order for you to practice, that is why they're dealing with the data that is publicly available. In case if the data is not publicly available, what you need to do is so in the documentation, we have a step-to-step guide, like how to load the data from AWS. Setting up private IDs, that is fine. Go to this section, configure through the storage integration. This is how we set up. I'm going to bring you this particularly. I'll walk you through. In case I like right now, I don't have the AWS account. Once I have it, I will share you. I will show you how it is done as well. So when you log into AWS services, you get a screen like this. Once you get the screen, first you need to set up an IAM. IAM is nothing but identity access management. So where you set up controls and all, you need to follow step-by-step process. Whatever is given here, you follow the step-by-step process. Once you configure your policies, okay. Once you configure your policies, you give access to the Amazon S3 bucket. That would not have been mentioned here. You will give access to your Amazon S3 bucket, whatever is the bucket you create. And then whatever is the credentials we create, using those credentials, we create a storage integration. Okay. In order not to pass on the credentials again and again, we create a storage integration. Another way is you can directly pass on the credentials. Though it is not recommended, can either pass on the credentials. This is how you pass the credentials. Okay, we'll come back to it again. Let us understand how do we load the data from this publicly available S3 bucket. Very simple. It's similar to how we load. Let me create a database. I'm calling it as an ingestion database. Ingest data. Using these columns, whatever I wanted to load. Customer ID, customer name, customer email, customer city, customer state, and customer date of birth. I'm going to load the data. First, I'm going to create the table structure. So I'm creating a customer table. Everything I'm using string except customer date of birth. I'm using date. So I have created the table. External stage, create or replace stage, you give the name and you pass the URL. URL, ingestion data, new customer is the URL. Ingestion data, new customer. Whatever is the data in this folder, it will be coming into the stage. That means I should have two files. CSV file, TXT file should be coming into my stage. So let me create a stage. Creation of a stage is similar to how we use it in our internal stage. If you see an option for an internal stage, just I'm revising. When you load the data from your internal stage, this is how you load. First, you put the files from your local system using a SnowSQL, and then you just create a stage there. You don't give any URL. You just create a stage and then you put the files into that stage. Whereas in external stage, when you create a stage, you are going to pass the URL from where your external URL. That is why it becomes your external stage. If you just create a stage, that will become your named stage, named internal stage. So we created the stage. You know how to list, how to check what files are present. These are the two files that are present. One is a TXT and one is a CSV. Every stage file would be associated with MD5 metadata information. Now, once we create the stage, the next step is to copy the data from stage to your table. It's a very simple statement. Similarly, we use copy into the table, whatever we created from the stage. You can pass the pattern, the file format, if you haven't created a file format. Okay. I will tell you regarding the other options later. So out of the two files, I just wanted to load the CSV file. So I'm giving a pattern. So, CSV. Refresh it. In the ingest data, if you see the public customer has 100 rows. The 100 rows would have been loaded. You can check the data. Validate it against the file. We have the same data. Customer ID, customer name, customer email, city, state, and data. If you see, whatever is the process we have done, we have the files in an Amazon S3 bucket. We created an external stage. How did we create? We referenced the URL. And we just created an external stage. And then we copied it into a table. Now, when I said when we create an external stage, this particular stage is not going to incur the storage cost within the Snowflake because it is just referring to the URL. referring to the storage location that is already present. For if someone want to reuse whatever are the files in the stage, if you want to bulk load everything together, that is when we create an external stage. It's like a reference within the Snowflake. That's it. Because the file is already present in the cloud environment, you can directly load the data. Instead of creating a stage and copying it, you can directly copying using the URL itself.
But Satish, one question, sorry to interrupt. So as you have mentioned, like for bulk loading, we need to do it as per as internal stage, right?
No, external. Now we are talking only about loading from external files. So
External.
you can either load it to a stage that it become an external stage, or you can directly use the URLs.
But what would be the best practice when we are doing external stage load?
Best practice is to create the stage naming convention.
Okay.
Because you will have a reference, like you know what is the size of a file, you know what is the metadata associated with it. Okay. Whereas here, when you copy it, you are directly going to see the reference. Copy into the customer from. I'm passing the URL. Same URL you would have created using the same URL you would have created the stage itself.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And one additional thing. So how about like batch loading? Is it a separate topic or is it clubbed with this?
Batch
topic?
loading is nothing but your copy command.
Sorry, come again, Satish.
Batch loading is nothing but your copy command.
Public?
Copy.
Just okay. So that will be executed in a scheduled stored procedure or something script, whichever script we are actually using.
Correct. So when you use a copy command, you can load multiple files, right? When you have 2 to 3 files, all the 3 files together you can load. Now here I am passing the complete exact file name. If you don't pass an exact file name, whatever are there in your stage, if they're of the same pattern, all will be executed.
Okay, Satish. Yeah, clear.
Okay. If you want to load directly, you give the URL. Okay. Mention the file format and then load it. Copy it into custom. 0 files are processed because I already loaded this file. So if you wanted to read, though the file is processed, again, if you want to load, that is when we use force is equal to. We use this option because Snowflake has this feature. By default, it will not load already processed files. You have to use force is equal to true to process the already loaded files. I'm able to load directly from the URL. Any questions, anyone until now?
Satish, I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
You said the folder, right? So if I have 100 folders in my Amazon S3, right? So for different classification of data and all. So in that case, I have to create 100 stages in the Snowflake.
Not
also?
required. Not required. See, there are.
So any of the parent directory I can create, I can use any in the copy command, I can use the subdirectories from the right.
Correct. Here I am loading the whole file. I'm giving the exact file what to be loaded. If you don't give, if you just give only until this subfolder, all the files within the subfolder will be loaded. But they should be all has to be the CSV type. Based on the file format you are passing, whatever are the files of the same format, it will be processed.
Okay. Okay.
But let's say you have CSV files and TXT files. You cannot process both the files together because file format is important.
Okay.
So in that case, let's say in this folder you have both CSV, TXT, then you have to load it twice. One use load all the CSV files, another copy command, load all the TXT files.
So instead of .csv, and we give .star something like that, no, right?
No, but then your delimiter will it will fail, right? Because your delimiter will be different.
Yeah. Yeah. Different file format, it can be different. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is why all the file formats with the same delimiter can only be processed once.
Okay. So Snowflake internally manage this existing file with the MD5 values, that whatever you mentioned, right? Whether this file is loaded or not, something like
Correct.
that, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Same
Yeah.
file, if you try again loading it, we'll try again executing this command. It will be zero process, zero files. But use force is equal to true again here. If you see this file, this copy command worked previously, but it not.
Okay.
But now if I use force is equal to true, it works.
Okay, got it, Satish. I have one more question, Satish. Right? So now you have been showing, if you see a batch, right, in a real-time environment, right, we don't log in the batch process or how happens. We don't log
I'll
in
come
into
back to
this
it.
UI.
Batch process.
Huh?
I'll
Okay.
come back. Okay. When we talk about procedures in a task, then I'll tell. Batch
No,
process is
it
nothing
is
but understand batch process.
no,
So
Satish. My
there are
question
two.
was
Yeah, go ahead.
how real time, what script they will use, right? There will be some scripting to call this copy command, right, to execute this NoSQL, right? The batch process, if you see any or control M or autosys, they will have a schedule or 15-minute schedule and all. They will call some scripting language. That scripting language will invoke this NoSQL and execute all this command one by one, right? So that is how the
There
real
are
time
different ways you can schedule actually. One thing is, if you want, right, you can directly use this copy command into a task. For that, you don't need any scripting.
Oh, okay.
Else, you can store these files in a NoSQL. And as you said, right, using a control M, if you want, you can trigger the files from the control M. You paste the SQL files into some Unix folder and you trigger the control M, where the shell scripts will, I mean, whatever is the control M, either you can use Python or you use a, bash scripts that internally calls the SQL files, SQL script. Okay.
Satish, this is Venkat. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. See, for example, I have maybe 1,000 rows. Okay. So when I copy 500 is copied and next row it's got an error. So how the Snowflake will act? Either it will again start from the starting or after correcting, or the 500 will be copied this one thing. And next thing is that where it captures the error part, what is the error it has been occurred.
So is this not covered in your internal stage? We have something called on error mode. People are aware what is on error?
No.
When you load, you can, by default, it is abort. As soon as the error comes, it aborts. You can say continue, skip file. So have you seen these options anytime? On error, continue, skip file. Anyone? Okay.
Maybe in other tool, maybe I have heard, like in case if you have any error in the row also, that's okay. You can ignore that row and you can continue with the other rows, what are there like that. Is that the same option?
Yes. What I will do is, let me show you those options using an internal. Let me give me a second. I'm trying to create a files. Okay.
Satish, are you sharing? But we are
Yes,
not
yes.
able
No,
to
no,
see.
I'm just preparing the data.
Oh,
Just-
okay, okay, okay.
Let us understand those files. Let's say we have contacts. Okay. So this is some sample file. Okay. Have contacts one, ID, last name, first name. Okay. There is a way you can load from the URL itself, right? Let's say this. And again, I'm sticking to the how to load the data to from the internal stage. Okay. So what I'll do first thing is I'll create a table. Okay. I'll create a table, my CSV table. Let's create that. That was the sample file I wanted to. I created my CSV table. Go to your databases. This is the ingest data where I created, right? Go to your databases, ingest data, my CSV table, load the table. Okay. You use a compute warehouse, source files. I'm selecting from my system. Okay. I'm selecting contacts. Next. I don't have any file for. I'm just using default options. Next. What is the default option? Stop loading, roll back, and return an error. If you see the show SQL, it says on error is abort statement. On error, it's an abort statement. Close, and I'm using load. Some error has happened. Unable to copy the files into the table. Number of columns does not match with the corresponding table. The error I got is not able to copy it. Why it was not able to copy it? It is number of table has 10 and your file has only one record. Because by default, Snowflake loads CSV file with comma separator. But the file what I'm trying to load is a type separator. It looked for a comma, it did not find a comma. So it took the entire record as one record. That is why I got an error saying that it's not able to load. Again, I'm reprocessing so that you can see. Next, selecting the file, contacts one. Next, I haven't defined any file format. If you observe, right? I haven't defined any file format. I'm just trying to load. Stop loading. Number of columns in the file does not match up the corresponding table. Use file format option on error. Count column count mismatch is false. To ignore this, else it gives you a second option. If you like to continue loading when an error is encountered, use values such as skip file or continue for the on error option. Let us do the skip file. Skip file also will not process anything. Continue loading valid data from the file. See, it's on error, continue. If you use do not load any data in the file, it is on error, skip file. I'll tell you about these options. Let us go back and create a file format. Let us create a file format as well. The file format I wanted to have it as my CSV format. Of course, you can create the file format even from here. File format. Create a file format. I'm going to create my CSV format. What is the? It's a CSV file. Column separator is the pipe, whatever we have, the vertical bar. You wanted to skip one header. We have the header row, right? I wanted to skip the header row and the column separator is pipe. Finish. Let me try loading the same data. Text one. Open. Next. Next. I'm using the same. On error, it's going to abort the statement. I'm not going to change it. 5 rows are there, 5 rows are passed. Let me go and validate whether the data is loaded or not. I'm refreshing. There's a my CSV table. You can see 5 rows are there. What I will do is I will induce some error. Let us try understanding how the data will work. I have this wrong file. I know what is an error and all because I'm aware of this file. What I'll do is I will try loading the context 3. Context 3, I will try loading. Load the table. Next, selecting the file. Let us do one by one. Context 2 or directly let's go. Context 3. Open. Next. Next. I'm going to use the default option. Load. Number of columns in the file 11 does not match with the corresponding table. Use the file format option. Okay. And where this error is saying line 3, character 1. It says only line 3. Use the other values such as skip file. This particular thing is showing the error in line 3. Let's go to the history. Let me go to the history and see. I got some error. Go to the query ID. Some says the error has happened for this file in line 3. Any other information we have? No. No. Someone has asked, how do the errors be captured? Okay. We need to use a validate table function. Okay. Let me use the validate table function to capture what are the errors, complete errors that are coming. I'm using something called validate. This is a table function. Okay. What is the table I'm dealing with? My CSV. I wanted to see what and all are the errors. So I'll go to that and I'll capture what is the query ID. associated. Is the query ID. Let me copy this query ID. Pasting what is the query ID. Let me just run this select star using the query ID. After this, did I run anything? Oh no, the data would have been purged. You will not be able to capture it when I use this particular user interface. But when I do the same thing using the CLI, I will be able to do that. Because by default, the information would be purged when you use the UI interface. I'll come back to that. How do we capture when you use the SnowSQL or the CLI prompt? Now, we were not able to load one record, third record. Okay. Now what I will do is I will try loading the same data with a different. Next, select the file, contacts 3. Next, what I will do is do not load any data in the file. I'm capturing on error skip file. Purge is equal to 2. Let me try load it. It says rows passed are 5, rows loaded are 0. And what is the first error? Number of columns in the file does not match with the corresponding table. That is the first error it is showing, but it did not load anything because the file has a issue. It has skipped that file. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just noting down. So abort statement did not run. Okay, because it found an issue, immediately it aborted. Skip file, when it used, it tried to process the file. Because this file itself is having an issue, it skipped it. Again, I will come back and show you what is the difference between both. Let us go to the third option. Select files. Again, I'm selecting contacts 3. Next. This time I'm going to use continue loading valid data from the file. See, the on error option is continue. Try loading it. 5 rows are passed, 3 rows are loaded, and 2 rows probably would have got an error. What is the error? It shows only the first error. It doesn't show what is the second error. And the load status is partially loaded. What is that we understand? When you used a continue, valid records within the file got processed. For this, file did not process. When I used on error skip file, file did not process. And on error continue, file is processed. File is partially loaded. Go to the history. Just for reference, go to the history and check. I'm going to use something called SQL text contains copy. See the comments, whatever I have run just now. First thing, if you see, this is the error, on error abort statement. on error abort statement, when I used, if you see the symbol of status is this one. When I used on error skip file, the status is load one. One of the two files. It is showing you the history also. Okay. Like we processed the first file, but we skipped the, but it should not be the case. On error continue, it has showed the success. But if you go inside, if you see, it should be a partial load. The status shows partially loaded. But in the history, it is status is succeed. Similarly, if I go into the query history, it is load fail. But if you go to the history, it says status is load warning. It is taking into the consideration of the previous file which I processed as well, which is not actually correct. We don't use this load option. I'm just using for a demo. Usually we load it through the SnowSQL. At a high level, you can see three different. It's an error, it's aborted, skip the file, and it processed, though it has an issue. It processed 3 out of the 5 records. There is a fourth option. Let us see that also. What is the fourth option? Context 3. Next. Next. Do not load any file if the error count exceeds. You can give a threshold. Threshold, give it as 3. Is the sequence. On error, skip 3. Okay. Close. Load. Five rows passed, 3 rows are loaded. Same thing I will do different. I will use one. That if you see 2 error records, don't process. I know that my file has 2 error records. It failed because when I say skip 3, if it encounters 3 error records, it would have failed, but it encountered only 2 error records. Whereas for the next one, what I did, I changed it to 2. It has 2 errors. That's why it did not process the file. So you can mention the threshold in the fourth option. Skip file 3 or 2, whatever, like how much. Sometimes you would be okay with to process 2 files and all. At that time you can use this. Let us understand more about statement and skip files. Now what I will try to do, I will try to load multiple tables together. Let me try loading context 1, context 2, context. 3 files. Next. Again, I'm reprocessing this. But our default option is stop loading rollback, which is abort statement. No. None of the file is processed. How you are able to say none of the file is processed? Nothing has happened. Because our context 3 is having an issue. It did not process context 1 and context 2 also. Same thing I will try different option. Skip file. Now I am saying do not load any data in the file, which is nothing but skip file. Now you see, context 1 is loaded, context 2 is loaded, but context 3 is not loaded. I said skip file. This file is having an issue. It has skipped this file alone. Any questions? So when you are loading a bulk, multiple files, even if one file is having an issue, if you use this abort statement, that batch itself will be failed. None of the data will be processed. When you use a skip file, when you are loading multiple files, only the file with an issue will be skipped so that you can reprocess. Here, you need to reprocess the entire batch. Here, you can reprocess just the skipped files. If you use this continue, even if the file is having an issue, it will process it, but it will skip the error records. Here, you need to reprocess the error records again.
Okay, Satish.
Yeah, go ahead, Venkat.
Okay, Satish, this is Venkat. I have just a clarification. I found that on error continue, when you showed the demo, 3 records are loaded and 2 records it got error. But in error message, I can find only one message. If I can see in this batch, what are the job table, I can see both the right. The reason why I'm asking is that, see, if it's going in real time, we would be having millions of records, right? That is the case, no, we can't go one by one and check. So we'll go to these, maybe the job idea, will check as and consolidate. That's just I'm asking for the clarification.
It will show all the errors in the files.
Okay, thanks.
Because I load it through the UI, it is not capturing. But when I load it through the CLI, you try using this record, you will be able to.
Okay.
I don't know, my CLI would have been old. I haven't tested. That's why I'm not logging.
Yeah, Satish, one more question. Sorry. Sorry. Hello. Can you hear? Yeah, just adding more details to what Venkat was asking. Say, let's assume like in real time, there are millions of records being processed, out of which some 100 or 100 to 200 records were failing for each and every batch. Let's assume per day 3 batches are running. So 100 records per batch means some 300 records were there. So can we have some kind of a write statement into an error log table so that all the error records per batch will be written into that table, and it will be stored in some local schema.
That is why I'm doing the same thing. If you see,
okay. Sorry.
You are capturing the errors here.
Yes.
You are inserting, because if it is first time you create the table, or you insert into this table.
Okay.
So whenever the batch runs, it captures whatever is the query ID. Okay. You can do select last query ID. There is something called a last query ID. Using that, it captures the query ID and you pass that parameter.
Okay.
So, Satish, this has to be handled in our scripting language, right?
It should be in stored procedure or scripting. Correct.
Yeah, they want to load the data and get the status of the load by using the previous job ID. If
Correct.
the load is partially loaded, then go to this table, the whatever the query you have in line.
Correct.
79.
Exactly.
Get it, and wherever the means of dumping or create a new file, say that error record like that. So it has to be sequence of operation in the SQL in the scripting file, right? That's what you mean. Okay. Yeah. And also, Satish, I have one more question. So you said the same file cannot be processed again. So that is only applicable to the external stage, not to
internal stage as well.
Internal stage as well. But whatever you are doing, that is internal stage only, right?
Internal stage. But this is through the UI. UI will not store the metadata. That is the issue. See, you are manually loading. If you see, when I try to load it, the command, if you observe properly, why this is not being captured? I'm able to load it again and again. Is the question you asked.
That is my question.
I'm putting the file. Okay. When I
into internal stage,
actually,
right?
It is actually also creating the stage.
Yeah, it's an internal stage, right?
It is an internal stage.
Yes.
But once this session is done, this internal stage itself is gone. Example, I'm using this file. Okay. For our reference, what I'll do, I'll copy this. data is loaded. Okay. Now again, I'll try to load.
Yeah, I see it. You're loading the same file again and again.
Again, I'll load it. Let us see how this is varying. Load data. Contacts one. For the SQL.
So every time that the stage identifier is changing, is it?
Actually, is deleting the data in the stage.
Oh,
Okay. You are using a command purge is equal to true.
oh, okay.
Moreover, the stage itself is different. You can see your stage itself is gone.
Oh, so internally it creates some stage temporarily. Once load, the stage is being deleted.
Correct. That is why you are able to process it again and again. But when you use a command line interface,
Yeah,
when
the
you
stage
create a
will be
stage,
same. The stage will be same.
stage is going to be the same. That is the
Yeah,
reason you need to purge it to delete it.
Okay, got it, Satish. Because so the stage, the file with the MD5, the file name is tied with some stage, particular stage, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks.
Even in the comments, they talked about force copy and purge options. Okay. So when you use purge, what happens? The data will be deleted from the stage. Okay. And force is for you to load the data into the example. Let me create a stage. I don't have the command prompt interface. Let me just quickly check if I have the SnowSQL. Yeah, I have the SnowSQL. Let me show you through the SnowSQL there. NoSQL. So you know what is the login, right? How to log in? This is the URL. Account details. Okay. SM31 goes. Okay. Let me do the same thing using the SnowSQL now. When I load it through the SnowSQL, first what I'm going to do, I already have the file format. The file format I created was my CSV format. Yes.
We need a stage, right? Internal stage.
Yes, I need a stage. First, let me create a stage. I'm creating a stage. Now, once I create a stage, I need to put the files. Let me put all the files. Is different. This is the path. I will not be able to do from this laptop. So I'll show you next time. Okay. That is fine. I'll show you tomorrow because I was not expecting this class. Okay.
Okay.
So when you
Satish, I have a doubt. This is Venkat.
Yeah.
Okay. So actually regarding this loading, one person asked me a question. So I have a data in my laptop. What are the various way I load the data? So I told him that one is the Snow SQL, and the next is that what you showed us in the kind of creating the table format and directly loading. Is there any other option of data loading?
No, either you have to load from your laptop, either through your user interface or the Snow CLI. Then probably the third thing you can think of is if you have some AWS, Azure or GCP, load it into that bucket manually and process it.
Okay, this is the two methods, right?
These are the only methods.
Okay, got it.
Okay, or sometimes you can still think of Python, right? If you have Python, using a Python connector also you can load it. But everything is like loading from the Snow SQL only.
Yeah,
No,
that Python is anyway is going to be an scheduler kind of thing, from
Correct.
yeah. Okay.
Satish, are we going to talk about the delta loads or it's planned for tomorrow?
When you say delta, it is Snowpipe.
No, delta loads. I mean upsert or merge.
Is it not done for you? That you already talked about it's done, right? In insert, delete, and all. Insert, select statement, delete, and updating the data.
Okay. No, I'm talking
But
about
mostly,
delta loading means.
see, if you are talking about a delta loading continuous data, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
like the copy statement itself. You have the data into the stage. Okay.
Okay.
Once you get it into your Snowflake, the process is going to be same in any SQL, right? You compare the keys and you insert it in the next level, or you merge it.
Yes, yes.
Or you delete it. But that's a SQL kind. I don't think SQL will be part of your curriculum. The SQL is not going to vary. But
okay.
Once
Because
you get the data into your file,
yes.
that is important. Now, let's say you have create another table on top of this. You compare this table and that table. Either you, whatever are the missing records you insert, whatever are in the same combination, you merge.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So purge is something I'll tell you the options today. Purge is like you can delete the data from the stage. Like your file is processed. Okay. Once the file is processed, you can purge it. That is, if it is successfully completed, then only the file will be purged. Okay. Other options is we can use force is equal to true, which we have already seen. If you wanted to rerun that processed file, we use force is equal to true. Another option is when you put the file, you would have observed, you try placing the file again, the file will not be changed. But if you want to override it, we use override is equal to true. Okay. Now, before loading itself, you wanted to see whether any failures are occurring or not. For that, we use validate mode. Let us try that also. Validate mode comes in 3 options. Let me show you how the validate works. When you now load this table, you are using a copy into and you are trying to process the file. Even if you wanted to see whether the file will complete successfully or not. Validation. You can use this validation. Validation mode, you wanted to see the sample. Let's say you use return 2 rows. It will not copy into the table. This is not going to copy into the table. It is going to give you the sample 2 rows. Right. This is one option. If you have any errors, you can use return errors. If any error is there, you get from where the error is coming. For this, if you wanted to see previous errors during using a copy command, you can use return all errors. Any previous errors for this customer table, return all errors will, you can use this. Okay. So validation mode you can use to see the sample data or to see what errors can come before you even load the data into the table. Because we don't have any errors in the file, you are not able to see any errors. But ideally, you could try this option with any error file. You will see even before copying, you can see what are the errors. Any questions? Anyone? Is it clear?
This part is clear, Satish.
Yes, Satish.
Okay. That is okay. Let us discuss about external stage. Whatever I have shown you now is what we have done. We have loaded the data from Amazon S3. Okay. Same thing. If you want to load the data from Azure or GCS, not much would change. Okay. Let's go to the documentation. Let me show you the same thing. How to load the data from GCS bucket. The architecture of you loading the data will be same. In GCS, you have to store the data in GCS bucket. Either you can load using the URL or you can create an external stage and copy it. Same thing for Azure. In Azure, you will have the files in a data container. Either you do the URL or create a stage and copy it. Only based on your external cloud environment, your storage varies. Okay. So this is my blog. If you want, someone wants to take a look. I have documented for GCP how you can load the step-by-step process, because AWS, whatever is there in the documentation is similar, but GCP is a bit varying. So a few of my students asked me to document it, so I documented. Because if you follow the GCP, how to load or how to integrate, documentation is not that clear. But AWS, it's same as how it is in documentation. So you log into a GCP bucket, you create a project. Okay. Once you create a project, you create a bucket, GCS bucket. Then you upload the files. Once you upload the files, then you create a roles and permissions. Once you create roles and permissions, I have given the screenshots. Then you create a storage integration. Once you create the storage integration, using that storage integration, you can load to the Snowflake, connecting Snowflake and GCP. You can connect Snowflake and GCP. Once you connect, you can load the data from the GCP bucket. I'm pinging you this. So your process of loading the data would not change. And if you see, whatever we have seen is bulk loading. Bulk loading from Amazon S3, bulk loading from Azure, bulk loading from GCP. We use copy into command. For continuous data load, we use Snowflake.
Satish, this is Venkat.
Yeah.
So one of the person asked me, have you worked on Azure Data Factory with the Snowflake? So whatever we worked on AWS is going to be same, or Azure is going to be any different kind of ETL methodology and then bringing it to Snowflake?
It's same. See, the configurations, how you connect Azure and Snowflake will vary. But that usually the infrastructure team or admin will take care.
Okay.
As a data engineer or a developer, the process is same. Your copy command is not going to vary. Your stages are not going to vary. It's all the same. If you are Azure, you are going to give a Azure URL. If you are using, see what we have loaded from Amazon S3. When you create a stage, if it is an Azure, then you give an Azure URL. If it is from a GCS, you give a GCS URL. Only the URLs will change with respect to data engineering or a data developer. Or if you are using directly, if you want to use the URL, you can directly use the URL. It is Amazon, it is S3. If it is Azure, it is Azure. And if it is GCP, it is GCS. That's only the way. But the process is same. Nothing is going to change.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. If you haven't, see, you can do that validation. You can create your Azure account. Then you say that it is same. The process is same. Probably, if it is GCP, you will say that if the files are there, the process is not going to, it's going to be the same. I would not have worked on GCS because my project is in AWS.
Got it, Satish. Thanks.
Any other questions, team?
Maybe Satish, I have a general question. Maybe have you complete today's topic?
Yes.
Maybe if you complete today's topic, last I'll ask one general question.
No, you can ask, because if you see, right, I haven't thought what is the topic and all, because based on the list only I just covered, if you would observe.
Okay. Okay. So say basically I want to know, say as a Snowflake developer, what will be a day-to-day activities? So what will be the major of work you will be doing? Just I want to know actually.
If you are a developer, it will be SQL only. Like, you get a requirement, let's say loading of a file, you load it. Once you load the files, probably you have to do the transformations. Okay. Or sometimes when loading the file itself, you have to do the transformation. Okay. Or, maintaining the delta. Now you loaded everything into a staging. Okay. You are already maintaining a history data. Then with respect to data, if you have based on the primary key, you are going to see what is the difference between both. Or you are inserting the data, or you are updating the data. And give the data, do the transformations based for a reporting layer. So maybe you have to do the aggregations, or you have to derive logics, basically. Based on the requirement, you derive the logics and then you create a views or tables for a reporting layer.
Okay. Got it. Apart from that, any other thing is there?
Not much. Because you asked specifically about the developer, I told you the developer did.
Okay. And other thing is that, see, mostly I find now we concentrate, maybe the last batch also, maybe last tutor also, we mostly concentrate only on data loading part actually. The second part, what you told, creating a stored procedure, how you are bringing the output, that not much concentrated actually, but that also one of the day-to-day activity that need to be concentrated actually.
Because that is a SQL, right? See, if you would have worked in the Oracle, or if you worked in any other, the SQL is going to be the same.
Yeah, that's okay, but no, here the creation of procedure is going to be different, because one of the person asked me, is the procedure, if I add a parameter, whether it will alter or create a new procedure. It's a basic question only, but I could not able to answer actually. So because the second part is also has a lot of weightage, how you bring the data, how you create the procedure, how you create a functions. Maybe that part also we need to concentrate actually.
The procedures I will tell, because not much will change with procedures. Okay, procedures will be similar to how you use in other systems and all. It's only that you here most of the procedures right now are in JavaScript, but Snowflake has introduced SQL as well. It's a new thing, okay, which even I did not get a chance to explore. But we'll talk about procedures. Okay, but as such, if you want to insert the data from one table to another table, how do you compare the keys and all? It is similar to other systems.
Okay, that part only. So that part only, mainly I want to know what all the day-to-day activities you will be doing. Just it's okay. Normally we work on Oracle or no, what are the relation database. It's going to be same kind of thing, or it's going to be different. What you guys work for the second part actually.
Yeah. That is, I'll just give you an example. What and all, how you manage the data, but because loading is important, because loading is different with other systems. Once you get the data into the loading, if you would have already worked in any of the relational databases, okay, same method you are going to say, I have this data, I'm maintaining SCD2 or SCD3, I am loading the data and I'm doing the aggregations. Okay, let's say I wanted to find sales per month, sales per year, different KPIs. Whatever is the existing project you are aware, just tell I am doing the data transformation based on the your project which you are already working, and I'm going to give it to the reporting team.
So normally is a Snowflake developer also do the creation, reporting creation, or how it's going to be in real time?
Which one?
A report creation in Power BI or Tableau.
Different, I think that reporting team will be.
That they will have a
No, it is not any such a rule, Venkat. In many organizations, there will be separate team, BI team, they create reports. In some organization, even the data warehouse team, the data warehouse developer, the data engineering team, we call it as data engineering team, right? They also does this reporting. It is not that it's a rule. It is based on the company to company how they build a team, right?
Okay, okay.
So you say, right, other part, I have the data in the Snowflake. How do I process, right? This part, how do you generate the file, right? You are simply loading the file from the stage to Snowflake, right? How you create the file, that also plays a very big role. It is not simply we get the file. The getting the file from the external system and the way you have to transform the file and put it in the stage, right? That itself is another that will be also a role and responsibility of. There is no role such as in US, right? There's no such a role as a Snowflake developer. Right? Snowflake is one of the area data engineer or data architect or data lead will be working on will be working on. Snowflake is a part of what I believe, and as I was going through all the openings and all, right. So you need to they start from the SQL, right? If you see in India, I don't know, but in US, right, they start from the SQL. Then do you have any experience in ETL tools? They will ask. Do you have any experience in the cloud ETL tools, right? Service ETL tools such as Glue or IACS, like that. Okay, then next we will go to, do you have any programming language, say such as Python and Java? Then what are the exposure you have in the data warehouse databases such as Teradata or Redshift or Snowflake? What I feel, it's a combination of these tools to be a data engineer. So they expect the combination of tools. You may know one or two, you may not know a couple of tools that they expect, but this is how every opening, right, it is being framed. So that is what my experience, if you ask me in the US. But
In US, they expect more because you have an offshore team, so that you should know the end-to-end solution. That is more for the US jobs. Okay,
in
because
India, I'm not sure.
in India, basically what happens, right? see, if you're a Snowflake developer, they may not ask you to get the data in the file format only. If your team is having some BA analyst and all, you say let that work will be going to the analyst. Okay. If you are, it depends upon the skill set or the role you are taking. So BA analyst or external vendors, it's their duty to place the files, and we process the data from the files. And sometimes there will be reporting team. When you don't have a skill set, your team cannot ask you to report, right? Or a report. Of course, if they train you, yes, they'll give you assistance. You learn it, then it is not that difficult as well. Okay. But with respect to learning of a Snowflake, we have to understand how from that, how we gather the files and how do we give it to the report. This is all within the Snowflake environment. Within the project roles, it depends whether outside this boundary, do you have additional responsibilities or not. But with respect to Snowflake, once the data, how do you get into Snowflake and how do you give it to the reporting? Our expertise should lie between these two boundaries.
Yeah, because in your experience context, right? You said 8 years of experience, right? So
Yeah.
you cannot be, you cannot be just a Snowflake developer in the market. If you go
But I am
in
right now
India,
a Snowflake. Only I am working only on Snowflake.
Okay. So
So it depends upon
okay.
project to project. That is why I said in US expectation is more. But India, for sure, you have multiple teams.
Yeah, maybe I forget this India's setup now.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least in my team, I have a Tableau reporter. Okay. I have in my previous team, I have a business analyst who it's their duty is to understand the requirement and give the files in the file format, whatever I want. Or whatever the business wants, we have to come to a consensus. This is the file format, and this should come with many headers. This should be only then the bulk loading will work. If any deviation, the bulk loading will fail, and it's on the business. Okay, so they come with lot of documentation, lot of compliances. Okay, because we set the queries for bulk loading in one. If I say I'm skipping one header, some next day the business cannot send file with two headers. If the batch is failing, we will say that this is how and this is what is agreed. It's up to you. You loaded a wrong file in Amazon S3. Okay. Okay, Tim. Tomorrow, what we'll do is we'll talk about loading semi-structured data and unloading of a data. Okay.
And before Satish, before last question, can I ask? Yeah, okay. Another thing is that just I want to know the file size normally you and your team handle actually, because sometimes we tell no, they ask, oh, this is the size you are handling is very less. So just I want to know what is the size you guys are handling. Just
See, file size, right? Snowflake, all these are there in the documentation. When you come to the file size, when you have huge amount of, let's say 1 TB of files, it's not recommended to load whole of the 1 TB of data. It is recommended to segregate the files, multiple files, and then reprocess all the files together. Like in the loading, instead of loading 1 TB of data or cut it into, I'm not sure, it is 100 MB of data or 500 MB, whatever it is. Cut the 1 TB of data into multiple files of 100 MB of data and reprocess all these 100 MB of files together. So this would be much faster than this.
okay, 1 TB might be around 20 million approximately rows.
It depends upon the number of columns as well, right? That is
Okay.
why I'm not going into the size.
Okay.
Because as it's all bytes, right? Number of columns increases, then number of rows will decrease.
Got it. Okay. Thanks.
Okay. So you can say, see, huge amount of files again, it's how you play in the interviews, right? You can say there is an team that sends the file, but I know the process. When you get multiple files, it is agreed that the maximum size should be, even the file comes in 1 TB, it's their duty to, segregate the data into multiple smaller files and place it in the Amazon S3.
Okay, is their duty, right? Customer, maybe vendor
It
duty, right?
depends how you like. If you haven't worked on it, it's very easy to pass on the bug, right? Say that there is another team that maintains the files.
Okay, maybe this seems to be some important one. If you can include this a part of the how this can be segregated, that would be really useful.
Even I don't do that. I think there are multiple tools, right, where you
Oh,
segregate.
okay, with the
It's all
tools,
you
right?
use agentic tools, right? You don't do it on Snowflake.
Okay, got it. Maybe tools we can
Snowflake's
split.
duty is only to pick the files. Snowflake does not segregate the files into multiple smaller files. It's not Snowflake's. It's not within the Snowflake boundary. It is outside the Snowflake boundary. But what Snowflake recommends is processing the smaller files.
Okay, got it.
That is why I said you can pass on, because it is outside the Snowflake environment.
Okay, that was useful, Satish.
Okay, the recommended size is around 16 MB of files. Okay, if you have the bigger files, Snowflake recommends segregating into multiple files of 16 MB. Okay, so I suggest go through the best practices of data loading. Okay, data load considerations you will have. The data load considerations. Where the documentation it presents, okay, it's around 16 MB it comes to. Okay, roughly around 100 to 50 MB. Okay,
Satish.
I think it is in the data size itself. Whatever is the documentation, right? It's there in the same. Okay, general file sizing recommendation. Loading very large files is not recommended. Okay, 100 GB is I think 1 TB. Whatever is the example we put. Okay, it recommends getting into smaller files.
Okay.
Okay, I think if you're using Linux and all, they have given you an example how you can split it up. But if you see again, this is outside the Snowflake environment. Using your Unix utility or Linux utility, whatever is Windows. Okay.
Okay. Maybe Satish, maybe my final question actually, maybe just want to know how is the Snowflake market? Because why I'm asking is that you are in real time, you are working, right? How is the Snowflake market? Because sometimes I discuss with my friends, they are telling that I am not aware of this kind of tool like that. They are telling. Just I want to know how is in Snowflake market currently.
Snowflake market is good right now. It's booming, right? If you see, right, when I say Sampath, Venkat, you are
Yeah,
which
yeah,
technology? Which
I'm
technology
from
you are working on?
SQL transaction SQL TSQL developer.
Yeah, SQL.
SQL developer.
Okay. If you see, right, there is SQL migration to Snowflake. I think we know you are working on SAP HANA. SAP HANA migration to Snowflake is happening. If you see, SAP HANA is not a, it's not something like a very bad technology. SAP HANA people, there were a lot of, it was a long running, very good technology. Even then, the migration is happening from SAP HANA to Snowflake. Because that is where people are seeing the future in the cloud. The how we use the Snowflake is convenient, which is easier, and the cost is also less. Maintenance and all, because you are able to integrate with any of the cloud services, right? Your integration with other cloud services is also very easy. That is why people are going to Snowflake.
Okay, okay. But there is a competition between Redshift and Snowflake, right? Heavy competition.
Try to understand. AWS has Redshift.
Yes.
Azure has Snipes. GCP has Google BigQuery. These and all are competitors to Snowflake. But why people are still going to Snowflake? Because in the future, let's say you are using a Redshift. Do you have, let's say you had or suddenly monopoly increases, your Amazon Redshift increases the prices. You don't have much, you don't have to go anywhere. Like now again, you have to migrate from Redshift to some other. You are using a Snowflake, let's say if your Amazon partner is not serving you properly, you directly jump into Azure. You are not going to lose anything, right? And there is a report, AWS, a lot of blackouts has happened. If you have seen the like few months back, right? Your services and all affected. Okay. But if you are in Snowflake, right? In your account, okay. Similarly, you can replicate the account in Azure as well. You can host your Snowflake account in multiple places, cloud service providers. And of course, Snowflake architecture is much better than Redshift. I worked on Redshift as well.
Okay, okay.
Snowflake architecture is much better than Redshift.
Okay, okay. Thanks. That's all from me. That was useful actually.
Okay, yeah, I think you can see. If you, I think even if you Google just a Redshift and just Google Snowflake, you will see the amount of job differences. And when you do on Redshift, never you will have independent Redshift jobs. Redshift always comes with ETL glue, and other services on Amazon. But Snowflake jobs can be independent.
Okay.
Satish, I have a question to this. Do we have any collection of the interview questions for Snowflake? These are the things which is being asked every interviews and prepare the hands-on on this and all. Do you have any bunch of questions so that
I don't
people
have
like
it, but I have check my Facebook page. Okay, Snowflake trainings and certifications. Okay, I have it there. Probably I'll share the link in the group. Okay, I just loaded 5 questions. I did not pursue it much. Okay, probably during the trainings I'll tell you what kind of questions can come.
Yeah, because those things and all will be helpful, like candidates like
Sure.
Venkat, right?
Okay, okay, team. I think I exceeded the time. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks. Good night to all. Bye.